Hello, protest followers, and welcome to one of the biggest days, if not the biggest day and most dangerous day of the year. Welcome to Invasion Day. This is where we will see many thousands of different protesters, tens of thousands, marching through the streets of Sydney. And we've come across, I've been made aware of one Lachie Kavanagh protest, which is right here. And his protest, or his engagement here is, all land is stolen land. Change his mind. Now I'm hoping to cover most of the day for you here, as long as I can. It's a controversial statement, but he's well socially distanced from everyone else. And I hope that he has some good conversations today, because that's what he said that he wanted to have. He wanted to get in here. Don't start until about 9:15. And he wants to talk to people. That's what he said, is that he wants to talk to people. And I hope some of the people here do talk to him. Now, you might notice that I look different from many other times you may have seen me. Today is a different day. Today is Invasion Day. Now, you might wonder why I have to necessarily dress like this. It's for my and everyone else's safety, because being able to blend in is very important. So we have the black block, black pants, a black shirt, a black mask, black backpack. Everything very different from my normal collared shirt. I don't have a collar. There is no collar here. There is none of that. But what we do have is a certain respect that these streets today will be dominated by a certain that are willing to use violence to enforce their views. Lachie's already greeting to someone and saying, "G'day, g'day." And that's a reminder that his sign here is, all land is stolen land. Change my mind. That's what he has to say here. So we'll see what people has to say about it. I might actually go and ask him about it in a minute. Bit of a wave. There you go. A couple of people doing loops. We'll see what he ends up going there. Now, this is a different kind of... Yeah, mate. You can read that. You can read it. There you go. Welcome to gorgeous Hyde Park.
It should be like that picture, okay? Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah.
What do you think I mean by that? What do you think I mean by that?
What do you mean by that? Tell us, mate.
But obviously the premise is that every land on the planet has been taken from somebody at some point, right? So all land has been stolen from someone at some point. As far as I'm concerned, there doesn't seem to be massive movements in other countries, against Caesar. In the French hate Caesar, they hate the Italian people for Caesar coming in and slaughtering people. In fact, I'm pretty sure that there's no movements anywhere other than Australia. And it's funny how we, in Australia, we care about this stolen land, but we're not very sympathetic to the Middle East in their stolen land, or the stolen land in Africa, or we're only sympathetic to our stolen land. All the other stolen land doesn't matter. Our stolen land is the only stolen land that matters. And so the reason I'm here is to draw a distraction from the real problems in the Aboriginal community that the political class are clearly ignoring, right? And so if you look at statistics,
Statistics?
The whole movement is a convenient distraction for the political class from solving the problems in the Aboriginal communities, because they don't want to fix the problems. They want to keep the Aboriginal communities in poverty, desperate, broken families, crime, single motherhood, drug problems. They want to keep that going so they can play politics with the Aboriginal communities and increase their political power, because if they help the Aboriginal communities out of poverty, they will have less political power.
So here's a question for you. Why today? Why come and do this today? Why not any other day of the year?
Because this is a day where people are and yelling, "This is stolen land! This is stolen land! Get off my land!" Right? It's ridiculous, right? And it's at the point where someone's going to provide an actual solution to the problems that no one wants to talk about. Because this whole movement, no one wants to know. If this movement was a legitimate movement designed to help Aboriginal people, they would be talking about single motherhood, which is the real problem. Now, single motherhood is the biggest predictor of criminality. If you're raised by a single mother, you're 20 times more likely to end up in prison. 32 times more likely to run away from home. 14 times more likely to rape someone. 5 times more likely to drop out of school. And 9 times more likely to get addicted to drugs.
How does this stand help advance the conversation around Aboriginal land rights?
Now, it's not really about Aboriginal land rights. I'm not really interested in that type of politics. Just things like that. I mean, debates like that can go back and forth all day long. When you say land rights, I don't really know what you mean by that. You know, like the right to Bondi Beach, like that. I don't really know what you mean by that. And I don't want to debate semantics, because debates like that can go around in circles and back and forth. I like to present debates where you cannot argue with my debate, because you cannot argue with the fact that the political class doesn't give two flying whahoonies about the Aboriginal people.
Yep.
It's obvious. If they did, they'd be talking about single motherhood. You can't argue with the fact that this movement doesn't give a flying fuck about Aboriginal people. If it did, this movement would be called the Strong Families Protest. If this protest cared about Aboriginal people. It's not. It's the Invasion Day protest, yelling and screaming and carrying on. The white people are the problem. Division, sowing seeds of division, disorder, hatred. Because hatred is the mechanism of control.
Okay.
So that's what it's really about.
So here's a question. Why do this near their protest? Because near their protest, you know that it's going to inflame tensions. You know that it's going to make people angry, because this might be conversation that they don't want to have.
Yeah.
Why come into their space, their zone? Why do it here? Why not do it in Parramatta today, or somewhere different that's not right next to their protest?
I kind of want to inflame people just to get a bit of attention. You know, I am a little bit of an attention seeker, aren't we all? But if you want to get a proper conversation going about single motherhood and the actual problems in the Aboriginal community, doing it in a place that people are going to get triggered and go crazy is probably the best way to do it. If I did it in Parramatta, it's probably people aren't going to care. And so I do want to have proper conversations with people who are actually interested in what's going on.
So you want to inflame people, but you also want to have proper conversations.
Yeah.
Is inflaming people the best way to have a proper conversation?
Probably not. I mean, but I can't think of a better way to do it. I mean, that sort of gets the views, doesn't it? I haven't inflamed anyone yet though, so you might have to move to a different spot. We might have to move to a different spot.
Things can pick up, with my experience of protest, things pick up very quickly and unexpectedly.
Yeah, that's
you'll
true.
go from nothing until someone comes to speak with you, and it will draw a crowd.
Yeah, no, we'll draw a crowd, yeah. You've got to be videoing, ready to get the whole conversation, and just stand there and don't even talk, I reckon, if I'm talking to someone. If I'm debating with someone, you've got to just stand there and just say nothing and just stand there and video.
For you to listen, part of what you're here to do is also to listen. So
Yeah.
you're right, that you're here not just to speak to people, but also hear what they think.
Yeah.
Because
But
if you're here to have your mind changed, it's not about you talking to people. It's about you doing a lot of listening today, right?
that's true. I mean, but
Because we can listen to you anytime. You can listen to what you have to say anytime.
what do you reckon, guys?
Yeah.
All land, stolen land.
All
What do you
with
reckon?
you.
You with me?
Yeah, I'm from Germany. I feel exactly if all the people are not happy with the solution, I have changed the day.
Change the day.
Yeah.
So my premise is the opposite of that. I think that all land, stolen land. And my question is, why is this piece of stolen land any different to any other stolen land?
Sorry, people.
My basic premise is like that all land has been taken by force at some point, right? And so why is this piece of stolen land any different to any other piece of stolen land?
Yeah, it isn't. It's just colonization.
Yeah. But I feel like in Australia people, especially our friends who really support this sort of stuff, like Invasion Day and all sorts of stuff, and they're really into it. And they don't really think about that all land has been stolen at some point. They think that our land is the only stolen land in the world, and it's kind of a bit of a skewed view on what's going on. So I'm just here to have a conversation about it and try and get people to
Yeah, but that doesn't distract. I mean, the same thing happened in North America, in South America.
Pretty much every country has had land taken by force.
Holy Roman Empire, Charlemagne, Roman Empire.
But that doesn't distract from what happened here, and they have to fix it here.
Past, tragedies that have happened.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So-
all for it.
One of the reasons I've set up today is because I want to bring like a conversation to, because the Aboriginal communities are like in poverty, and they have a lot of problems in the Aboriginal communities. There's a lot of poverty, socioeconomic problems, and most people blame it on like the past and the things in the past and all this sort of stuff, right? If you actually look at what the problems are, the main one is single motherhood. So the single motherhood rate in the Aboriginal communities is 30. Non-Aboriginal communities, it's only 11%.
It's the multitude, the alcohol abuse.
But so if you read, I'll read you some stats on single motherhood right now, just so you can understand what I'm talking about. When I say it like that, it doesn't really make sense. But so if you're raised by a single mother, ready? You're 5 times more likely to commit suicide if you're raised by a single mother.
but not here in Sydney. That's the thing. If you are raised by a single mother here in Sydney, it's different than when you are raised by a single mother up there. And there might be a single mother up there in the Northern Territory because the guy is drinking because of alcohol.
Well, the thing is, just the fact that there's no dad in the house is the predictor of bad things happening to the child. And so if you look at sort of...
It could be a dad and or a mum.
It could be dad or a mum, but the fact that there's a single parent family is a very bad thing for the child, and that tends to lead to very bad things. Also, 20 times like end up in prison. That's a big one. If you're raised by a single mother, 20 times like end up in prison, and 14 times like to commit rape. Because
The common denominator is there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of drugs, and there's a lot of alcohol. And that manifests itself in a lot of different problems.
But I think the common denominator is kind of like broken families. You've got a family that's like dad and a mum, they're together, they're both kind of responsible, trying to look after kids. It's much less likely that the kid will end up on drugs, rape someone, go to prison, drop out of school. All the bad things are all related to the change. Sorry.
Yeah.
And the big problem that really gets me is that no one wants to talk about this. Right? No one wants to talk about broken families being the cause of problems. They want to talk about they just want to yell. Politicians don't actually want to. Politicians are supposed to be trying to fix this problem, and what they're really trying to do is they're not actually trying to fix the problem.
But the stolen land is also, it's how it started. Then this group of put into land that wasn't valuable and wasn't fertile
Or enslaved.
and was fucking
some of them were taken
no good
from-
for anything.
There were people taken from their parents. Fucked up stuff. Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. But if we want to fix these problems today, let's say today we want to fix. The biggest thing we can do is lower the rates of single motherhood, and that's what politicians aren't talking about. And the reason I think is because they want to keep Aboriginal communities in poverty.
How do you fix that single motherhood?
I think it's kind of hard to fix, but you have to have.
Can't force people to stay together.
No, but what
you
you
have
can
to
do-
create a situation where don't resort to alcohol and violence, and then maybe relationships have a better chance to endure.
My opinion on it is that we should at least be educated on this knowledge. Like politicians won't even talk about this single motherhood because it's not woke enough.
To even acknowledge that this is Invasion Day, and not everyone is happy in this country.
I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like the media wanted to whip up stuff like this, and I feel like politics. In my opinion, I think the reason for it is because they want to maintain political power. If you have a community that's in poverty, you have way more control over that community than if they're sort of looking after themselves. But if you can keep the community in poverty, that's why when you look at communities in poverty and when they get given welfare and stuff, the welfare doesn't tend to help the problems. And I think the reason is because the government's not trying to fix the problems. The government wants to keep them in like a permanent votes, have more control over them and stuff.
Give them education so they can help themselves.
Yeah. But I think the main education that we need is sort of to educate people on this broken families is a really big problem. We don't acknowledge that.
Yeah, but if we know that doesn't change their situation necessarily. They have to know that, and they have to put their children through a better education. I've got Aboriginal friends who work with me. I'm a doctor here at Sydney Hospital in the emergency department. Once you bring people to get a better education, they get better jobs, they are in positions of influence, then things change. Other than that, they won't change. And you can't change single motherhood. How do you do that?
Well, I think the first step is to educate people on the problems associated with it. Like, we didn't learn that in school. We should have learned in school that if you're raised by a single mother, you're 20 times like end up.
Yeah, but you have to ask yourself, why are there so many single mothers out there? And then you go back to drugs and alcohol and violence, domestic violence.
Obviously, if someone becomes an alcoholic, they're not going to sit around the couple of kids, obviously, right? And that's what this is what there's drug problems and violence, and that's obviously why there's such
The rate of that in the Northern Territory is so much higher than along the east and south coast, isn't it?
I mean, I've only looked at rates in Aboriginal communities and non-Aboriginal communities. It's 11% in non-Aboriginal communities. All of them include every community.
I'll give you this, it's a
And
problem.
31%.
Single parent is a problem up there. If you don't have support, and maybe you can't go to work because you have little ones at home. But it's not the only problem. It's just a manifestation of bigger things.
Well,
Anyway.
I think that it's a kind of a bit of a cycle, you know. And I think, you know, drugs tend to lead to bad things. People don't look after the kids, and then not looking after the kids leads to kids grow up. So it's a cycle. But I just think it's very interesting that no one talks about this sort of stuff. If we learned about this in school, that would make a big difference. I think it's very important stuff to learn about in school, considering it's a very big influence on our children's lives. Like, I didn't know that if my child's raised, or if I have a child with a woman who raises the child by herself, my child's 20 times more likely to end up like, we should have been raised and taught that.
You won't get all the Anglo-Saxons out of the country now, see? You have to come to a... You can't say you and you and you and you 99%, you go back, 95% you go back to your countries.
Who goes back?
Yeah, of course.
So you need to find a coexistence.
Yeah.
Who's going back?
I'm
Okay.
going to bed, I had night shift. See you later.
Wiedersehen. How'd that go?
Not too bad.
You're not getting a lot of engagement.
I think people think that I agree with them, or they're just ignoring me. I'm gonna get punched soon, I reckon, if they come over. If we get a mob, come running.
You are getting a crowd gathering. I'm not sure if you noticed.
What?
The crowd is gathering and paying attention to you. I think I go to different protests you do. But you've got attention. But they do think that you agree with them.
What do you reckon, guys? I gotta say it to people, like, then they'll understand that I disagree.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You will need to get attention, otherwise they don't realise what you're trying to there to say.
How you doing, guys? What do you guys reckon? All land, stolen land. Yeah.
They don't understand.
I don't get it. What the hell? What do you reckon, girls? Isn't all land stolen land? No. I'm just trying to... That's hilarious, man. I obviously wrote the wrong side.
Ask this girl. What do you reckon, mate?
What do you reckon?
You don't have to change my mind, mate.
Lucky.
You don't have to change my mind.
What do you... All land, stolen land. Right? And so if all land, stolen land, why is this stolen land more important than other stolen land?
This was never ceded.
Sorry?
It was never ceded.
But pretty much every land has been taken by force from some group at some point in history.
Only in the colonial sort of history.
What's the difference between colonial and non-colonial?
The colonial exploits of the indigenous people, usually persecuted them. Genocide, stole it, used the Bible to justify it. The Spanish and the Portuguese, right through to the present day in Israel.
The point that I'm making is that every land has been taken by force at some point.
Yeah, but they didn't say they own this land. They said they were the custodians of this land, the Aboriginal people did. You're bringing in post-colonialism and the neoliberal view of the world. Like, yeah, we know you can't own land because you die and leave it, don't you?
Yeah,
It's been here since the world began, but indigenous to certain lands and they've been kicked off it, persecuted, murdered.
The point I'm trying to make is that all land has been taken by force using violence at some point in history. Right?
Well, we don't know about prehistory, do we? Like, we're only talking about, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 years BC, maybe
But even back
7,000 or 8,000
Even if you
years.
go back to then, pretty much all land has been taken by force at some point in history. Like the Middle East, America, England, all of it's been taken by force at some point. What makes this stolen land any different from the other stolen land? Does that make sense? That's the point I'm making.
Well, it's not any different. It's no different to Israel or Canada or America or anywhere else
Okay.
where the indigenous people have been, picked and dispossessed,
So why?
and
why
the brute force it's been done with. And it's happening today.
why are people so angry about it, like in Australia, but not in any other country where?
I do feel angry about it everywhere else, especially the Middle East, because all the disenfranchisement of the Palestinian people, and all they go on is Bible theology. There's no historicity behind it. It doesn't pass the pub test historically. The Jews in Israel, it's theology it's based on. And the thing that's is every Western government Palestinian land. They're all complicit in it.
I guess so.
The Hasbara, Israeli propaganda.
It's not. If you look at countries like the UK, Canada, they don't have the same sort of movement like we do of like being really upset about the past, the same level that we do.
Well,
I was going to say that's because we're more inviting to have everyone here and equal opportunity.
Okay, so countries like Canada and America and other countries that have had obviously bad examples in the past, which every country pretty much has, right?
Yeah.
They don't tend to. They're not so worried about.
There you go.
the drugs.
Good to see you again.
But I don't think it's just countries.
Good to see you guys.
Is it here or is it the main?
The main.
In the main, is it?
This is crap. This is going to turn into a
Okay. South America. I don't know too much about South America.
Exactly. South America has
Why do you say that?
it's not equally or even more injustice.
Should we hang around here then?
imposed upon them
if you
than
want.
any other continent
Like if you
in the
used to be a
world.
event, go
And
there,
no
and
one
just
speaks
be like
about
a
it.
random episode.
No one knows about it because no one wants to educate themselves about it.
It's out of sight, out of mind. Sort of.
Or they all affiliate
This is what
themselves
this
because
brother's
the
going on about.
American media has led us to believe.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know too much about South America, but you know.
My family came here from Uruguay. My grandfather was tortured.
Yeah. Wow.
They threatened to kill them, cut off the heads of everyone in my family line, my bloodline. And that's how I got here. On the other side, my father got here because he was classed as a musician. He was brought to this country to educate people on music.
Yeah, I know the coppers were a bit low.
And they're two polar opposites.
But anyway, we need to get a bit of dark.
And I'm so lucky to be here. And I think we all just need to respect one another.
You on?
But it's yourself about things that you don't know.
Yeah. I guess it is. How you going?
Hey, mate, how you going?
Not too bad.
We're just from Al Jazeera.
Sorry.
We're from Al Jazeera. AP.
AP. I don't know what that is.
Associated Press.
Okay.
What's the go here?
Oh, so my basic premise is that all land.
You're rolling? You're rolling?
Yeah. All land in. What makes this stolen land any different from the other stolen land? And the second question is, what's the solution to it? No, okay. I'm just here to have a conversation about it.
Okay. So do you have a solution for us?
So, I don't have a solution to the stolen land problem, but I have a solution to. There's deeper problems in the Aboriginal communities, things like broken families, drug problems, crime, and no one wants to talk about these problems. Like people want to go out and protest and yell at the stolen land and kind of be angry about
I
it.
guess it's not really the land that they're really arcing up about for us.
It's
I
the
grew up.
act, I guess.
Yeah, I grew up like with my mother being stolen.
Yeah.
My mob's down from Yorta Yorta country, so I guess I'm just trying to understand. White collar trying to say it's stolen land. That's all. I mean, I'm up for the conversation too, bro.
So the conversation I'm trying to have is about the problems in the Aboriginal communities.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Because these are the problems. We talk about stolen land and change the date and all this stuff, but changing the date's not really going to fix the poverty in the Aboriginal communities. I feel like changing the date, which is almost meaningless, is more important than getting Aborigines out of poverty.
Do you think it's a starting point, but
Maybe it's a starting point.
I think it would be something to start with and then go back to that conversation. I guess one conversation at a time, really, isn't it?
I guess one at a time, but I feel like it's a political distraction. I think the political class is deliberately trying to distract people from the actual problems. And so, we're going to get into it right now, the actual problems. These are just some statistics from studies that have been done. If you're raised by a single mother, you're 5 times more likely to commit suicide, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 10 times more likely to be abused and drugs, 14 times more likely to commit rape, and 20 times more likely to end up in prison, 32 times more likely to run away from home. Right? And you look at this is from the ABS.
Oh, no, we know all the stats.
Yeah,
I know all the stats, so I don't have to run through the stats, guys. It's just like, I guess you're on land that's not creed right now, and I guess that's the conversation we're having. We're not so much saying stolen land or anything like that. I guess what we're saying is that, you know, at least have a voice to Parliament, you know, or at least have to close the gap scenario, because even that's now been taken. And stuff like the Eddie Mabo Treaty and all that type of stuff right now has been taken. So, you know, I say big up to you, you know, and everyone should have the right to have the conversation. So, yeah, no, well done. We'll cut out and take care, man. Watch your head.
See you later,
It's
guys.
a big conversation, cuz.
Yeah, I guess it is. I'm trying to be a bit subtle about it in the corner here.
No, everyone deserves to have a yarn, man.
You know, I'm not here to have a go anymore.
No, I get it.
How'd that go?
Yeah, pretty good.
What do you reckon?
Pretty good. Interesting conversation.
See you out there, guys.
See you guys.
See you later.
So, what did you think about all of that?
That's pretty good. I don't know where they're from, but
Al Jazeera. Have you ever heard of Al Jazeera before?
No.
So Al Jazeera is a Qatari-based state media organization. What they do is they're trying to provide a Qatari or Middle Eastern neutral voice. They've done plenty of media work. Probably their biggest Australian media claim to fame is when they were able to, how can I best... There you go. Look at this. Oh, I love this equipment. So guys, these are the guys from Al Jazeera, and they run...
People think I agree with them. I don't think they realise that I'm disagreeing with them. They're not. I wanted to trigger people, but it's actually good because now no one's harassing me and stuff, which is kind of good. Because apparently I've never been to a protest like this, or this type of protest, but apparently it can be pretty dangerous.
I know, yeah, man. I guess you just got to unpack your conversation, man. And if you've got it,
I'm never going to get. If someone's angry, I always calmly, and I never get angry back.
So what I was saying was Al Jazeera is a Middle Eastern news network from Qatar. And what I was just explaining to Lockie, Lockie's just finished having an interview with Al Jazeera. And it's intense because there was a gentleman who was a little bit upset with the premise once he understood what it was. How did that go?
I don't even know who you're talking about. General conversation.
When someone walks away from the conversation who says to watch your head, maybe you missed that part.
Well, they did.
Yes.
But I thought they weren't.
You better be ready to have this conversation, mate. Watch your head.
But they weren't aggressive about it. They were just saying calmly, it can be a bit dangerous having conversations like this out.
Yeah, I think you were missing the reading between the lines part. People can mean more than what they say. It's the implicit meaning.
I didn't feel like he was being aggressive or like saying bad things. Do you know what I mean? I felt like he was just fine with having a conversation.
Good stuff. So he was giving a fair warning that there are other gentlemen who are not as accountable as Al Jazeera who will be more than willing to punch on. Take, for example, the Determined Extinction Rebellion fellow.
How are we doing?
Oh, no. Thought he was going to have a conversation with you.
oh, right.
Yeah, have a conversation. I'm just filming him. He's got a stand here saying that all land's stolen.
Okay.
Which is really against the mission of the day, in a way.
Oh, okay. My premise is that all land is stolen land. And what's the difference between stolen land in Australia that's been taken by force and stolen land in any other country? Pretty much every country's had the land taken by force from someone at some point.
Yep.
Most other countries don't tend to have big movements about it, uproar about it. It's stolen land. Do you know what I mean? When pretty much all land is stolen.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Sorry, you go.
I agree. That's why I'm here. Like, at the end of the day, we are very righteous about wanting to celebrate something that is very awful for a lot of people. And so I think it's very important that we listen to knowledge.
The point is, I think you missed my point. My point is that
So I didn't hear the first
like
one.
all land has been stolen at some point, right? But you don't see big movements in other countries about like this is stolen land, like all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So you're trying to argue against what we're doing today?
Pretty much.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's probably a little bit ignorant because you've got a situation in Australia where there is no treaty, there is no versus Australia.
Okay.
You're celebrating the invasion, the takeover. We're the victims of a colonial oppression.
Yeah.
That's what you're
That's terrible. I think that's
Yeah,
terrible.
that's rubbing salt in the wound.
Like, I'm not-
You're also talking about incarceration rates.
Terrible,
Just
terrible.
people in Australia are the highest in the world.
Yeah, terrible. And the reason I'm here,
439 people have died since 1991. Since the Royal Commission into yes, in custody. It was a bit ironic.
the Royal Commission showed that the leading cause was natural causes of the
When natural causes mean like diseases being taken a lot of the time, like
Is that right?
yeah.
So okay, well, so the leading cause of so there's 1,300 induced deaths in custody, right? I'm just understanding.
Are we talking about back then or now?
No, so what? Since 1999? It was 1999, was it?
1991.
1991. So there's been 1,300, about 1,300 deaths in custody. Like leading cause is natural cause. Saying that leading cause is diseases we introduce.
I'm talking
people
about
who died in custody,
during
like
when-
in police custody. I'm talking about.
I was talking originally about back during the foreign generation when we introduced like smallpox. But now, like if natural causes, we could talk about like a cycle that was introduced to these people that has made, I don't know, they're now within like a perpetual cycle whereby they're not allowed the same rights, they're not allowed,
Hey, mate.
they are dying and it's being incarcerated at a lot higher rate. And it's like you're trapped in a cycle.
So one of the reasons I set up here today is not to mock
Yeah.
protest or
On the
I
list.
kind of want to get it. Even like no one seems to be getting triggered because they think I agree with you guys.
That's what I initially thought.
Yeah,
But
everyone
think
seems, I
the
always think
point
like
of
the wrong
today's
side.
protest is more so
the
to
end of the
acknowledge
article.
that
I don't want you
people
here.
this is a day of mourning.
No,
It's like a period of genocide.
on the other side of it.
And I don't think it's so much the focus is on land, but more how it's a day of mourning. They don't celebrate it. Like up until like what 1988 or something, it wasn't even considered
Okay,
Australian.
all right. Sounds good.
It was considered a day of mourning.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
And so one of the things I think is very, very interesting
All right, mate.
is
Okay, cheers.
the problems in the Aboriginal community. People tend to blame them on history or blame them on, they have all these excuses for why there's problems there. And we donate $30 billion a year to these communities. They don't seem to be getting any better.
Yeah, but money is not going to change things if attitudes don't change.
No, that's
On
that's 100% correct.
a broader level, you know, what you're talking about is colonialism, capitalism, which is actually killing all of us at the moment. So these are big ideas, but at this point in time, we're in a climate crisis, and we're in a society.
Let's stick to one.
No, but this is all related.
We can
This is all related.
This can get very complex.
Yeah, but this is all related. It's the
I don't
same
believe in
thing.
climate change.
Yeah, it's the same.
I don't blame climate.
Okay, right.
I'm like
I'm
different-
wasting my time talking.
different
about
subject.
it. Yeah, all right. Good luck. Cheers, mate.
See you guys later.
That was a very polite interaction, despite a lot of disagreements there.
So my premise is that all land is stolen land.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And so I think that,
But you can't own land.
but my premise is that why is this stolen land any different from the other stolen land in the world? That's the point I'm trying to make.
Not literally all of it.
Ma-
It's owned by capitalists and stuff.
It's 1:15. We've been here about 40 minutes. I got to run on.
I'll see you later.
See you later, mate. Stay safe out there. See you at the
Where you gonna
protest.
go? To the thing. I'll pack up now.
Yeah, I'm headed to the thing.
Conversations on camera?
Say again?
Do we get any? Can you hear it?
Heaps.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, heaps of it. Sounded good.
I'll
I
pack
was
up
listening
and-
through most of it.
I'll pack up and take the shit in the car, and then I'll come with you guys.
We'll be moving around. It'll be hard to keep track of us.
Okay. Well, I just pack it today.
Nice to see you, mate. And I'm checking out here with Lockie Kavanaugh. Check out his page on Facebook. All Land is Stolen Land was what he came here to talk about. Have a good day. See you later. Yes.
I'll see you guys
Just come.
later. I'll find where you guys are at some point. Find you guys. I don't know.
So, guys. He had a good chat. Yes, I'm looking a little bit different from how you normally see me. He's going to continue to have some good conversations there. I'm going to head on to the rest of the protest, which is where you'll find a long string of people that we can see here. This is thousands strong. I was thinking this might be about 5,000 because of the heat. The 10,000 number is not ridiculous, is not out of the question. Now, just as big is the police presence. OSG has set up in its normal location at the north end of Hyde Park. We can see also several traffic emergency squads ready to clear roads ahead of the march. Roads have been organised to be closed ahead of this. Plenty of public order and riot squads have been seen around. I would say that all but one of riot are on duty today, including Odin. They are all going to be here. Event of the year for the police here and protesters. This is probably the most violent event we're going to see this year. And this is also the largest Australia Day event that you're going to see here. And it's huge. Like, I can't tell you, a city that's been living through social distancing, mask mandates and what have you. This is a queue to get into the Domain. We're still in Hyde Park, a very long way away. Because I have many friends in the left-leaning community, moving with crowds is a bad idea. Sorry, not a bad idea. It's good to give them plenty of respectful distance, social distance. And that's where we're going to move over in this direction. The idea of this is to try and look a little bit different. Now, some of you may be asking what my sign says. My sign says, I overshare like an over-caffeinated teenager on Twitter. You might be wondering. It's a commentary from a past political venture when I wanted to say something to someone that I disagreed with them, and their view that they replied by email to me on an executive committee group was exactly what you see on this shirt. Interestingly enough, it's okay to email this to the entire board, but it wasn't okay to put it on a shirt. That was when I realized that I need to check my privilege. So, I think the title was indeed accurate. We're going to flip it around and simply look at the scale of the now. This is the queue to get into the Domain. This is the entry queue. This is the march. This is tens of thousands of determined protesters here looking to show that they care about this issue. Interestingly enough, though, they're only standing on the left side of the road, crossing the road to the right. I don't know what that says about their politics, but they're not right-leaning. But I don't know what's so hard about crossing the road to the right side, but maybe that's, I guess they think, all the way down, guys. All the way down. Look at it. Amazing. By far, not just the biggest left-wing activist event of the year, but the biggest event of the year. Now, my job through most of it is not to get the closest footage. My job through most of this is not to get the most action-packed footage. My job is simply to get footage of the entire day, because you're not going to see too many other streams of this. Left-leaning guys don't want streams of their events. It's just not their approach. Now, what you can hear now is the noise increasing, and that changes. COVID check-in desk. Hold on a minute. And they've got the QR codes. It's remarkable. Sheer scale of it. What's happening down here? entry, and these are the marshals. Ah, there we go. You can see a couple of the Antifa guys. Isn't this remarkable, guys? Sheer scale.
We're not going to be handing them out. Share them around as much as possible. There's important thing is there's 3 different numbers to call. There's one for the Aboriginal Legal Service, that's the Aboriginal Australian witness. There's one for non-Indigenous people who get arrested, and there's one for so a good idea for people to have those numbers somewhere else, like on their person, in case they
Guys, you got to take in the level of scale we've got here.
Beyond the limits of location. If we do not contain them, they will be in the boundary. So they sent a message to on May 24th from Gravesend in England, the ship left on that 80th Regiment, fresh after the Napoleon War, under the command of Major James Bennett Nunn. This regiment spent a 7-year punitive expedition right throughout Gomeroi country. Taking from Australia after the start of the sheep war. Them same colonisers was also the ones that started the Zulu War.
Look at that.
January 26, 1838. The regiments of the 80th Regiment made their way from Sydney,
See you out
made
there.
their way up through Newcastle, out through Singleton, and up through the Guards. And everywhere they went, they shot one hit. They slaughtered, slaughter. They used their swords. Because they our people were mad. They marched rifles, their favourite sword, but granted, the killing field of Gomeroi. Guess what?
ACP representation, Australian Communist Party.
Governor wants to talk freely. To the streets at the back of the concept in school. Let's start talking about separation. Don't be fooled by the
Thank you very much. Actually, let's have. Yeah, I'd love one.
Just front lines or anything in case you need some legal assistance. Just what to do if you get detained or anything like that.
You have the right to silence. If asked, you must give the police a name and address. Don't answer further questions without a lawyer presence. Power to photograph. They can't take a DNA sample. Yeah, cool. The police station, you have a right to contact a lawyer, relative, friend, interpreter. Police can keep you for a 6-hour investigative period, which includes breaks. If they have not charged you with an offence after this, they must release you. If they charge you, they must decide whether to release you on bail. If they don't release it on bail, they must bring it before a magistrate as soon as possible. Thank you very much for the information.
Did you want as well?
Thank you very much. You too. A lot of officers I've seen here before. Good guys. They've got the water organised. Stay cool out there. Oh, good guys. Yeah. Stay cool, mate. You're good. This is the crowd. The scale of it.
Anyone need hand sanitizer? Just keep heading down.
So for an idea of this, we're being funneled through this area down here. Lots of clapping. Stay cool, mate. Yeah. Plenty of public order out. They just need the manpower. They need everyone, not just from Sydney Command, but absolutely everyone they can. Thanks, mate. Plenty of fellas I've seen on the ground out before. And this is where the entrance kind of spills out. So I'm just going to stop here and show you where we've come from. And there's the march. So this is a protest in the middle of this is a socially distanced protest in the pandemic. And you get the idea of the crowd of who we have.
We have a Western Sydney watch committee. If you're available tonight at 7 o'clock, come out there. We're at the Candle Vigil. Because if you look at the name, the road itself says a lot. Wait, here. Look around these streets. Now, the buildings, they're all named after the colonisers. And murderers. Shame, shame, shame. Did you ever understand why the no Christian people here? You know, they last week got there.
So we're going to move around the edge of the event just to try and get some more scale and context for you. If you want to hear the speeches, I'm sure there's another stream that's dedicated just to this. But again, 40% of what I'm here for is a protest, but 40% is the event around the protest. And now I'd love to speak to you about what people think of the protest, because that's just not what the day is today. That's just not what the event is today.
That's not good enough, you won't. Come on.
There's Lockie, he's come into the event too.
Anybody know that name?
How you going?
Everybody should know that.
And you guys.
Right, let's give it up for my beautiful Marnie.
How'd you go with the rest of your event?
I can set up here somewhere. But maybe right in the middle. Imagine that.
If you want to do it, I'll watch, but that's your call.
Well, I don't think people even know that I'm even there. They will just think I'm agreeing with them.
No, I don't think they do.
They will, but they won't even notice. So,
No, I don't think they'll know.
you don't think they'll know, or you do?
I don't think they realise you're the platform that you're on. But have a look around, mate. This is... It's a rally, man. Another acknowledgement of country. I'm gonna keep moving around probably. Oh. So, tell me, what do you reckon of the events so far that you've seen?
Not too bad. I haven't seen any violence or anything. You don't even get aggressive, so that's good.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what we want. That's what we want. We don't want anger or violence or anything like that.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yeah, cool. Cool.
Pretty good. Just trying to draw attention to the real problems.
What do you think about the crowd?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Pretty big, huh? If only we could get this, like people, some protest or invasion day, there's numbers, but people don't give a fuck about their freedom. It's not ridiculous.
No, they don't. It means something.
Crazy, huh?
It really does mean something, whatever it is. You said you didn't like commies, right?
Yeah.
What's the flag flying, mate?
Yeah, I saw that.
So now's the time or the place.
What I did, you're not to fight me and shoot.
If you're going to do it, let me know. If you're going to go and talk to someone here, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to keep moving around.
Okay, well, I'll move around with you for a bit, and then
All right.
if I decide to engage, I'll follow you guys around.
Right.
And if I want to engage in conversation, I'll come over and let you guys know how to go. So I wouldn't mind having breaks to come in. I don't have the. Do you have a charger? Another one of those or not?
No, different backpack. No, I don't. Good, good. How you going, guys? Good move, Senior Constable. Very good move. Sunscreening up. Good choice there, across the board. They're going to be hot out there today. They are going to be hot out there today. They've got. So, this stretches all the way from the Carl Expressway. All the way over. And I'm going to give you a slow pan. Oh, I can't even get, I'm going to have to zoom in even more just to get the detail on just how much. There you go, guys. What the demographics are of the people who have shown up here. This is young. This is 18 to 25. White, inner city, rich. These are educated university grads. These are guys who went on to go to university in Sydney. By and large, I would say don't have large corporate roles, and majority, from I can judge it, live at home. This is 1/3 of Newtown showing up. Say that we've got 10,000 here. Do we have more than that? Maybe. I'd say that we've certainly hit that magical 10,000 number. Do we have 20? No, I don't think so. No, I don't say there's 20 here. I'm not a magician counting numbers, but do we have a group here that makes up approximately 1/4 of an electorate? Because each electorate in a federal district is about 100,000. So we've got about 1/4 of an electorate here. No, we've got about 1/10 of one electorate. 10,000 numbers here. But this is 1/4 of an electorate. Now, I don't see a lot of Islamic turnout. I don't see a lot of immigrant turnout. This is Australian-born 3/4. And this is European-born Australian 2/3, 3/4. What does that mean? Who knows? You can make up your own mind, but I've given you some of the demographic stats that I've seen on the ground from walking around, and that means something. I have seen a handful of Aboriginal people while I've been coming in here. It's a small number, but it's no more than a handful of the 10,000 odd that are here. I don't know if there's 10, 50, than 100, certainly less than 0.1% of the turnout. So, look, let me pull up the comments and give you some perspective. I'm going to head back into my crowd, but again, it's not too... Oh, Lockie's joined us again. What do you reckon, mate? We're going to go and do something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to make a video, but I need to put these in because my microphone's broken on my phone, so...
Go ahead.
I can't really talk. You can barely hear it if I... but yeah, I'm keen to go and do something, maybe like 10 minutes.
Yeah, nice.
I want to set up in front of one of these groups or...
Yeah, no
try and have
worries.
a
Out here, the cladding that's gone up. Check this out, guys. This is something that normally I'm used to seeing in Portland, Washington, DC. That's Parliament, guys. Means something. Means something when Parliament's brought it up, guys. Means something. Does that mean they're afraid of the people? Does that mean the power are afraid of the people? I don't know. I don't know. But it means something. It means something. Chat? Would you be willing to have a chat on camera? Me too.
In there, but you know what?
Because more versatile. Oh, that's where you bring the 150.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, well, that's right. I've got that there. But you know what? It's so fucking hot. I don't know. I
You
don't
can be
know if I
bothered.
shoot too much.
I know. And
So
you brought
I
the
think I'll
flash.
just listen.
You brought the.
No, I've got to have the flash for fill-in.
Oh,
It's just too sunny. But the latitude in the camera is pretty good without all that shit.
especially on the 11, which is what I'm running here with the 3 cameras. So check this out. I'm able to go. That's not bad.
I know they're all
And then hold on, I'll go out. I'll go out. That's not bad. From that to that to that. So Michael, what do you think of the day?
I've been coming to these for about 4 years.
Yep.
So yeah, I actually. It's the to me, it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
To actually stand in solidarity with First Nation people, and you know, it's time that we grew up as a nation.
Yep.
And look at, you know, unable to actually correct what's happened in the past, but at least, you know, change the system to become inclusive
Nice.
for everyone, basically.
Nice. What do you think? What do you think some of the biggest challenges we face as a nation over the next year are?
Oh, I think just purely apathy and ignorance. I mean, you know, if you believe the polls and you've got like only a third of the population want a changed to the date, or was it up to 50? I mean, it became convoluted what the media were trying to report. I think they run an agenda themselves. But
There's always an agenda.
yeah,
Did
but
COVID change your list of priorities? Like, did COVID change what you think's like really important to get done? Or
Not really. I live a fairly solitude life, and I work with powerful owls and stuff photographing. So I'm in the bushland a lot and that, because I do work for the Powerful Owl Project. Hence, this is the camera I actually use because I've destroyed so many cameras.
So an NGO kind of indigenous project?
No. They're just the ecological projects for the Powerful Owl Project. I don't know if you know much about powerful owls, but they're an endangered species, and so there's a group of us that monitor their habitat, and in fact they're indigenous to the country. It's First Nation now, so they're very important.
Do you get a grant for that from the government?
Yeah,
or anything
there's
like
there's a grant that comes through for the Powerful Owl Project.
Yep. Would you be able to do it without the grant? Or?
There's a lot of citizen scientists, so no, you wouldn't.
I guess I can call you.
You would be able to do a certain amount, but you wouldn't be able to do.
So you work for the government? There's a way of putting it. I get that.
No, I don't. I do it as I freelance. I'm a freelance photographer, but I freelance for the Powerful Owl Project. So services for free.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they get a grant, but you give the services for free to them.
I do my services for free.
Got it.
You know, they get $75,000 over 3 years, or for a year.
Yep.
It pays one PhD. Work, well, whatever you call it, doctor or whatever you want to call them. So basically run by citizens that do all the field work.
Yep. Cool. Lovely. What's the vibe like compared to other invasion days?
Listen, I think because the police are separating everyone out into 500 lots, it's not as separated from it. So, I mean, it is sticking hot, but you know, I like the fact that previous years everyone's together, and you know, then there's a march.
Yep.
Here you're sort of separated a little bit, you know.
Yep.
A little bit too much for my life, but it looks like it's fairly big, doesn't it? Because we've done
1,000 people, I'd say, and about 1/10 of a federal electorate, for context.
Yeah.
So, here come the big cameras. There's the big cameras. There's the big toys. Big media. G'day guys, how you going?
Good. How are you?
See you out there. There you go. There's the big media. So what everyone's going to see is the world through the lens of those cameras, and that's what I try and share with my viewers. Is that guy is going to tell you what happened today through that camera, and that's what 250,000 people are going to see what happened. It won't be the stream. It won't be the people who see your photographs or what you tell people. You might tell 100 people total.
Yeah.
It's those cameras that shape our reality. I try and tell my viewers.
Yeah.
Right there.
I've got 2,000 people.
There you go.
That's not too bad.
And as an example, I was using an example that's a very the views of 250,000 people.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Well, I mean, they get the lion's share of getting getting their point of view across, don't they?
They do.
Compared to people on social media or what have you. But then again, I mean, if everyone does. You broadcast to 10,000 people and someone else broadcasts to 500, it all adds up.
It does. It does. BLM banners rolling out. The white guy is putting some... Oh no, there's a black and white guy putting a black woman, white man putting a BLM banner out. A good one. Haven't seen the Antifa... You've seen the Antifa banners? No. Not yet.
Literally the Aboriginal motif flag and probably Black Lives Matter.
There you go.
I can see one communist.
I can point one out for you just there. There we go. Just. Not sure if you can see the gentleman with the earphones in, tan shirt, black cap, backpack. There's one communist for you. There's a commie. No, he's He's someone I've seen before, and he's tried to bash me. So that's what happens. That's what happens. Michael, we're speaking with. Thanks for the views. Give us you okay with that? There's a fist bump.
Yeah, go for it.
There you go.
Mate, have a good day.
Stay safe out there, mate, and stay cool.
Yeah. Oh.
Crushed it. Sorry? I'm moving on again. Do you know where your Slocky's at? Yeah? I'm going to walk around again.
I want to go have to talk to some socialists and stuff.
There's plenty of commies around. There's plenty of socialists, there's plenty of commies.
I want to talk to socialists. I reckon they'll probably be less aggressive.
Are you going to go do that, or?
Yeah, well, we'll find someone. Do you want to come with me? We'll walk around. And when we see something, we'll have a chat.
The guys holding the Australian Communist Party flag might be a good one.
Do you know what flag they get aggressive?
Do I reckon that the guys from the... Lockie's first big protest, and he doesn't really know how these things roll. So he's wondering if the guys from the Australian Communist Party are going to be upset if he challenges their views. Like, no justice, no peace, no racist police. What I will comment. That is, if you were next to a First Nations sister or brother and you're all waving this face, or you are a visitor to this country. I've seen a lot of these officers before, and I thought I confused her with someone else.
So get the Zoom out in this view. So what do you guys, what are the flags for?
If you want. One DX? Wow. Sorry, I know you're in the middle of something, but the Fairfax guys here. So when you get used to being a photog, sometimes you stick with some old gear that works really well for you, and you don't need to move on from that's running up on 9 years old. So when you're trying to capture a day, what you're looking for isn't always what's the most megapixels, what's the most dynamic range. You're looking for something that you know how it works, and that's exactly what he had there. He had an old 1DX there, still using CF cards, took a knee in the shade just to upload the stuff and get it up to where he was going. So that's what he's doing there.
These judges here, they have us locked up in sections. But when we march that street, we'll be flowing like the rivers, and we'll be...
Hello, can I ask you about your sign that you got there? Can you tell me more?
That we are going to get something.
Get Macquarie statue taken down. Sign the petition at monumentalchange.help. Share our protest lens at Lachlan Macquarie statue to get friends involved. Lovely.
What's the premise?
And this legal system, and the minister won't even give her the respect to see criminal charges laid on the police that accuse them of non-Jews.
Create a sense of superiority.
Yeah, and we're still celebrating, and basically when we take him down, we can admit that we can finally recognize that he's not a real role model. We can start putting up statues that.
Do you have other ones for different orders?
This is the starting one, and it's going to be a project that we're going to do with other different statues.
This guy
You don't have a
defend
sign,
statues. He wants to keep these statues up, this guy. He organises the protest protecting the High Park statue.
I think you'll find that somewhere else, but Michael? How you going, mate? How's your day been?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good turnout. Oh, no, okay, he doesn't want to talk. So that's a fella that I've seen a couple of times before. He's all right. He's an all right fella. Well, when he's not organising people to come and hit me. We've got a stand with Kashmir one over there. So. Oh, Lockie's... You want me to come over or no? I don't know. Can I come over? Come over or no? Can you come over? I don't know. They're not saying anything to me. Oh no, that conversation went down. I'm going to move on. We'll move on from that one.
Kids that are 12 years old are not put behind bars as a solution because of the trauma they did not
Aha. Here's another big toy just over here. Right, got quite a silly answer there. How you going? How you going? How you going?
Hey. Ask people before you film close up, yeah?
Didn't you just film me?
Yeah, no.
I'm better looking than
But
he is,
you're
mate.
doing it already.
I'm better looking than he is, mate.
Okay,
Why
so
don't you get me on camera?
you keep your distance and good.
Ask people before you film close up.
But you just
Fascists like
took
you are
a-
not welcome here.
Well, I'm
But
better
you're a
looking than he is,
fascist.
man. Why don't you get me on
No,
camera?
I don't want to talk to you. I'm going. Just leave. It's okay. If you want to follow me, you can talk. That's it. So she ended up taking photos of me. That's fine. I'll move on from her. Oh, and she's following me. We're going to keep moving here.
I mean it when I say it. We will achieve liberation here in this country. And if it's not me, it's going to be my grandchildren. And they will walk freely one day in this country and be able to walk on the Brazilian lands and waters knowing that we are free from these people in blue.
Already checked in. There goes.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
So what you'll find sometimes is that people don't necessarily want to be seen. Ah, yes, here we go. I'm fist in the air. Missed it. But that was the moment where we had the old fist in the air. What have you. Anyway, we're going to keep moving here because I'm learning something about mob mentality, as it were. You can whip up people to follow you, and that's when the energy continues. And now it's time to kind of try and move on away from the energy. Because my goal here isn't to create a confrontation. My goal here is to try and document what's happening here, how the day unfolds, and try and maybe speak to people, but more so listen. Listen about what's happening. In case you're wondering where we are, this is how you try and... So we're being followed by about 3 or 4 different people, and it's just time to lose that tail and move to a different location. So with a little bit of luck, they would have lost interest in that one. Again, the goal here is just to try and give them some space, make them feel respected so that they don't violently exile me, as often happens at protests. When the march begins, try and make sure that I've documented as much of it as possible. Most of this is just a warm-up to speeches. The tone so far is pretty calm, but it's rapidly gaining in strength, mainly because of the rhetoric that we're hearing out of it. A lot of talk about racist police, a lot of talk about capitalism, we need the lad back. And one of the other parts is going to keep the tempo up. Heat, temperature. It's getting hotter. It's coming. And this crowd is increasing by temperature by the moment. By the moment. This fellow, I think, was a CEO over at Homebush, which crushed the Homebush March. Yeah, that was one of the CEOs who was at Homebush, or may have been. You'll like these signs on this car, guys. Raving inner city lunatic, woke as unite, Black Lives Matter. Yeah, how's about that? Parts of Parliament boarded up. Crowd still filtering in, even an hour on. You can see them still coming in front of the Communist Party flag. Okay. Still filtering in.
The spirit of the land is touching our people. Our ancestors are now talking. Our Mother Earth is now talking. We need to listen.
Riding the winds of change, riding the waves of change. Doesn't that mean something? Some of you have often, well, many have written to me trying to understand what all of this means. If you want to, but I'll keep a distance from you. I think I'll end up. Yeah, look, if you want to, you can, but I'll be a long way away.
They're really aggressive.
Can, but look, I'll chat on stream with you. If you want to go challenge some views while you're here, go ahead. But I'm going to be standing a good distance away.
Respectfully, of course, not going to yell. But obviously, some of these people are capable of polite and respectful disagreement, as we saw before.
Mate.
She was like, "Oh yeah, I know what a fucking libertarian is." Like, as if it's like something evil to believe in freedom. Like, that's pretty much the most basic and simple belief.
Correct. How did that conversation with her go?
Oh, I mean, we just had to walk off.
Yeah.
She followed us and was like on video. She's videoing you. She wouldn't video me. I thought I'm better looking than you, man. I'm a bit offended.
She took a video of me while telling me not to video her.
Because you're a fascist for video.
Correct.
Yeah.
We don't welcome. She walked up to me and she said, "Ask people before you take their photos." While taking my photo, and said, "We don't welcome fascists here." So, look, you know, that's just how it is.
The problem is I don't have the right situation to get good footage.
Can we keep talking in the shade?
Yeah, okay, that's in the shade. Now, put it on right. Like this afternoon, sort of.
Oh, that's better.
I think one of those conversations would be good enough to chop it out, like 8 minutes or 10 minutes out of it, and just whack it straight on without having to edit it.
Yeah, there is if you want.
So that'd be good.
There
Get
is
more
enough
like
if you
that.
want.
Get more like that. Just I won't even edit them. I'll just flick them online if it's a good one.
Yeah, you can if you want. If you want. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll flick it up. So you're working out why my head's on a swivel spinning around?
worried about the communists, bro.
Didn't you just notice that conversation you had with two shadows? There's another now.
We're in shadow. People watching it.
People watching. How do you think they walked up to me? That guy had been following me most of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to the party. This is a.
Well, I'm already the enemy of the vegan community. It's not a big stretch for me to be the enemy of the rest of the lefties. So.
Yeah, it's a religious.
Well, I'm the enemy of the vegan community, man. They fucking hate me, bro.
What'd you do?
They fucking hate me. Trump supporter, straight white male, tall. Fuck, man. I got all the privilege and power.
I'm going to circle all the way around and get to the other side where the front is.
Okay, I'll come with you.
Sure. See you later. Sure.
That is the construct of a system who is system's working Rachel. She's right.
Ah, yeah.
The system for capitalism, not the system for the people.
Here's the shot. So what you want when you're doing this is you want kind of, you got your van, and then you do a fast, and you come back. You got your van, and you your long down there, and then there you go. What you don't see generally, you'll see the host most of the day, but you won't see the camera operator with all the shots that you're seeing. And he's the guy that makes a lot of the stuff happen. 4 hours.
I want to stand up right in the middle.
Where are these guys from? These guys are from? Can't work it out. They've got some nice equipment. So now that I'm away from a lot of that, you can see that the police turnout's pretty full on, because they are ready for come together, try and go for Parliament over there, somewhere else. Get into that Parliament building, and you can have yourselves another capital riot. And it's not ridiculous to imagine that that's what's going to happen. Outcomes of what happens of the day. Number one, you have a worst case scenario is you have a capital riot situation, trying to tear down the walls or whatever it is. Another not so ridiculous option is you just have a refuse to move on. So that's another one. Ultimately though, I think there's just going to be a march through some CBD streets and a dispersal into Hyde Park. I think with so much union involvement here, they don't want to be associated with anything too, honestly, illegal. Despite the limits on 500, you can see that we've got 500 areas. Everyone's in their own little separate space. You can see some bike cops in the middle, just trying to work with them. Everyone's doing pretty well and making it happen. And you'll find that a lot of this will be a legal gathering, and the parts that aren't, so even if over there is classed as not an illegal gathering, they're doing so well at complying that for the police to make a deal out of it, it would be seen as improper. It really would be seen as improper. So you've got good socialism, you've got groups of about a couple of hundred here, groups of a couple of hundred there. And just like everyone else, here comes 10 News. Is it 10 News? Yep, 10 News coming through. There, guys. Doing a nice little line crosses through the middle of it. Channel 10. Camera, but you're trying to get what he can. Not the date to celebrate, always was, always will be. Sometimes it can be a simple sign. He's just taken a little piece of cardboard over there and just written on it, and that's all it is. And that's what works. As you walk past, you can see it. You can see the eyes turn up as you walk past. The eyes just turn your way. And as you walk, look. So this will be the largest gathering. Yeah, there's a nice large sign, large right now. You got ones here.
Where are you from?
You got this. Sydney. Thanks, man. Australian Communist Party there. Beyond them. Good. Oh, thank you. There you go. So bourgeoisie, capitalist class, proletariat. We'll read that later. Let's just get. So the tone is really, really intense through this area. And we're just going to march straight through. Marching straight through this area. Beto Walk for Senate shirt. There you go. Don't forget Beto. So you got a lot of challenging that goes through as you went through here. Had 3 different people through their area. You just keep walking. They had their groups or mobs as they were. They walk up to you and they say, "Hey, which group are you with?" Intensely challenging environment, as it were. Have a look at this. Johnny Lim down there. Danny, how you going? Your little dog.
I know.
Life goes on.
I know. I have to, now I have to do it for Smarty.
Yeah.
Will she with me, the protest. But today will be good too, because the police were quite helpful.
Yep.
And that's why I'll make sure we just give a bit of respect to each other, a bit of peace and harmony.
Life goes on, man. One day at a time.
I think so.
Every day. Absolutely.
And the sunset, the sunrise.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank
You keep going. See you, Danny. See you, mate. So that was a lovely chat with Danny there. So Danny used to carry along with him a little dog. Lovely little guy. He was, how can I best describe? Of sorts. So he'd just go around, talk to people, do what he can there. And his dog passed away, sadly. And what I just had to say to him there is, every day you got to keep going. And he does. It's true. He does have to keep going. Every day's a new day. Life goes on. good. Let's move on. So guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the main entrance, and we're going to head up towards where I think the march is going to end up. I think the march is going to end up going up towards Hyde Park, but we'll see. What we're going to do is just try and now head away from the main crowds, because being here has caused a few feathers to ruffle by filming. And the chain behind me, no, I can only see one, and he's a long way away. He's keeping a long distance. Watered this time. We got 4 hoof patrol here. D Mark IV with, I can't quite see, 5D Mark IV with a 50.
With the man of justice, now the New South Wales Parliament.
Lovely fella. Not all journalists are happy to talk. Sometimes they're just on the job, and he's on the job. Hey guys, how's your day? You know there's a I've just come across a couple here saying very little and wearing Australian flags. Also being followed by a couple of people. Don't worry, I get followed too. Do you want to tell us that? Or do you got a message or?
No.
Just out for a walk?
Yep.
Streaming on Discoveries, by the way. I stream all kinds of protests, left, right, Trump, trans. It's a controversial flag that you're got here right now.
I guess. So.
In Deutschland?
Ja.
Ah, sehr gut.
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Nichts sprechen Sie Deutsch. That's it.
Very good.
What part of Deutschland?
Berlin.
Berlin?
Yeah.
Very good. I have friends in Germany, so I try and... why did you...
Just celebrating history and celebrating events, you know.
Yep. Cool.
I don't know.
Don't know?
Didn't really think about that.
Just going for a walk?
Yeah.
Did you know this event was on today?
Nah, just going for a walk. Really.
Just going for a walk?
Yeah.
No worries.
And you?
I cover protests of all kinds.
Oh, okay.
So big ones, small ones, top ones, bottom ones. So yeah. Large media organisations cut together.
We're just making a video on like the cool statues around Sydney today.
Yep. That's it.
That's kind of.
That's why we're going that way, right? And not staying there.
Have you seen the cool fountain in Bicentennial Garden?
You're getting a lot of attention, but yeah, be aware of that. Cool.
Yeah.
Have a good day, guys, and glad you got out of that safe.
See ya.
See ya. Wiedersehen. So that was a couple that, as they described, they were just out for a walk. Hell of a day for a walk. Hell of a day for a walk. Hell of a time. Hell of a place. I don't know. One was from Germany, one was from Australia, and they were just there to capture some footage of some... They were walking quickly, they were holding a GoPro as they walked, but I find it hard to believe their story. Well, it's very surprising if their story really was they're just out for a walk. If they... There you go. So, there you go. So, we're going to now head back up to the main entrance to the domain, towards the city, Now it is speeches are still ongoing. We're into Aaron 25 into the event. Across down here. If you're wondering why I'm crossing down here, is because sometimes you just read the crowd and give them distance. I've already had a couple of confrontations today, and in a crowd this big, it can whip up so fast. So fast. The offerings of war. Yeah. And that justice. There you go. The offerings at war, and that justice and mercy may grow. So we're heading parallel with the park along here. I'd love to walk in the shade here along here, but that's just not to be. Oh, another convenient time. Shade to come over. But sometimes you just want to give them some distance, let them have their space, because already been identified a couple of times. Conversations regarded as dangerous. At least here there's 2 layers of fencing separating, so if they're going to come and chase me, it will be, well, certainly more obstacles. Seeing plenty of Palestinian signs and commentary over there. Some of you guys looking at me. There you go. I always like this one. Crossing the Domain is the New South Wales Police Wall of Remembrance. These are officers who were killed in action. Alright, we're going to get back to some shade now, which on a day like this is awful important. Just a few minutes in the sun and you're baking. And you're absolutely baking. There we go. That's a lot better. Oh, they called everyone up, even the reserves. Look at these guys. These are clothes. I'm going to cuffs with them. They've called even the office workers up. Absolutely everyone they can. Every pair of boots on the ground they can. So there's the main entrance to the park area. That's where we've got a bunch of QR codes and, of course, the Socialist Alternative is trying to advertise their political party. Socialist Alternative is actually a political party. This isn't just a casual gathering. Main entrance here. That's the second check-in point. And there's still a crowd still pouring in. The march has not yet begun, but the crowd is still coming in an hour and a half into this event. This is the second check-in desk up here. If you want to know what a check-in desk here is, if you're tuning in from overseas, we have QR codes in order to register attendance. And that's what they're here for right now, to try and get people to check in so that if there is a, how can you best say, a COVID event here, that they're able to identify it. That gentleman's sign says, "For a class struggle, fight for Aboriginal rights." Hard to say what that means too much, although I think we've got a nice piece of shade here, and the expectation is that they're going to march up this street here. That's why you've got here check orders and what have you, enforced by police, because this area along here is going to turn into a marchway for thousands of people to march and disperse into Hyde Park. No point holding a rally if you can't hold a march. It's a good point also to stop and have a drink. How you going? Oh, let's see the... Let's have a look at some comments. This is a good time to catch up with some comments now that... Let's have a look at some comments. Okay. He's trying to loom like the American streamers, all black with a backpack. Just trying to fit in. I mean, it's only respectful. When in Rome, do as Romans do. Legend. I was sorry to hear that Danny lost his dog as well. But as I said to him, keep going. Just imagine if the Spanish had settled here. I spent a little bit of time in South America. Their stories of their indigenous people were brutal. Oh, holy moly. Children, they were simply barely even slave labor. Kill the women, kill the children, enslave the men, and put them to work in the Potosi silver mines. Whew, wow. Those are some stories. Not in a good way, but they had a journey, and these days they describe it as ancient history. The tribes are more looking at more legislative rights, which is where they're at. What assholes, what kind of people. I'm sure there's context there. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Thank you, Barry, for that input. So that's some kind of input for you. Sake. Look, it is. We had two people come here wearing and carrying an Australian flag through the protest, and they may not have known it was controversial. It is. I'm able to read the room. I've gotten better at that. Something about going to protests. I've gotten better at being able to read the room. An Australian flag here is controversial. As they said when they walked through the event, they were just here. Ah, dear. Oh no, it didn't spot me. Oh, that's okay. They were just a couple of Germans, well, Australian Germans, coming by to try and take some pictures of some historical statues. They didn't realise that if push turns into riots. is your friend a libertarian? I have Lockie. I think he is. You have to ask Lockie on this one, but I'd probably describe him as such. Yeah, he's pretty libertarian, I guess. I don't know. Is he a libertarian? He thinks COVID's a scam. Does that make him a libertarian? He thinks old land is stolen land. Does that make him a libertarian? He certainly believes in freedom. So if believing in freedom makes you a libertarian, then that's absolutely what. I'll certainly describe him as a troublemaker. He is without doubt a troublemaker. And do we need more of them? Well, I'll just say this about it, that any ideology that can't withstand a little bit of criticism, be it monarchy, republic, Black Lives Matter, all stories matter, that can't withstand a little bit of criticism, has something wrong with it. Of course, this was in a pre-internet society, and maybe we're in a world where criticism is something else. I don't know. Look, I certainly know that, how can I best describe him? He's young, he's a troublemaker, and one of the first things he ever said to me, that much, is, I've had enough of the commies. And I'm like, okay, cool. I think that makes him a libertarian. If a libertarian is opposite to communism, sure. I think it might be, I don't know. Maybe that makes him McCarthy. A lot of screaming throughout this. Very upset. And that is also something that motivates. You want to be able to motivate your group, otherwise they're just going. There's a few comments not cool, and it's not because they're insulting me. I always read out comments that insult me. If you can insult me in a witty manner, 100%. If your insults are lame and they're not funny, boo. They've got to be funny, guys. You got to make it witty, all right? You're dumb. Come on, it's stupid. Something rather cutting. I like it. I like it. Now, we didn't get to have a look at some of the information here, which I'd like to, which is some of the, Happy Australia Day. Thank you, Michael. Let's have a look at some of the information that we've been handed out while we're here. Normally I try and get some interviews in, but today's not the right day for interviews. Let's just get to confrontation. What we've got here. Class is often being portrayed as being determined by three: income or net worth, increasing in three levels: upper class, middle class, lower class. Broad sections. On the surface, this seems to be generally reasonable. There are broad sections of population that could, in this view of class, however, is flawed. Looking at the world, and this doesn't help us really understand anything. It is too arbitrary to have meaning. This is very arbitrary, but what was he? Rich keep getting rich. This class owns and controls the means of production and doesn't have to work to get them. That is more true than ever when it comes to automation. But the bourgeoisie is also competing amongst itself. In order to profit, the capitalist must make sure that the worker produces. This class does not own the means of production and must sell their labour power in order to survive, renting themselves to capitalists for hours at a time. Yeah, that's true. Thank you very much. History of all hitherto existing is the history of class struggles. Class under capitalism. By the Australian Communist Party. People are exist and there are no commies in Australia. Their flags are right there. These are their pamphlets with their logos. They are a significant part of today's deployment. They are some of the most passionate and violent supporters of all movements. So whether that's BLM, whether that's feminism, whether that's pretty much anything that is counter-systematic, they love it. They absolutely love it. That's why Antifa, which is an incredibly racist movement, so racist, is the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that's why you'll also see some, shall we say, some more nuanced conservatives working with Muslims. The most Christian conservatives working with Muslims? It doesn't make sense, does it? But their values both have similar views and hopes and passions. Someone's coming over to talk, or no? Oh. Hey guys. No, they were just talking about some of the most passionate and ardent are the Communist Party of the groups here. Now we're standing just here at the top of the Domain, waiting for the rally to begin their march through the city. We're about an hour and 50 into this. Now I don't know how they're surviving baking in the sun for hours like this. Right now, I'm really only surviving because I'm covered in water. So keeping up that anger, it's going to be pulling up the tension and tempo of the crowd a great deal. 7 News rolling in their van. What you'll find with these events is that there's already been 2 press conferences. Yes, protests have press conferences now. They rally together down in the Domain, invite all of the media contacts that they have. Press conferences. No joke. Oh, there's someone I know. What's he doing? Where's he going? You want to go hunt him down? Let's go hunt him down. I don't know too many people who are at this protest. Of the people that I spoke to, they were not interested in coming. They didn't want to. They were like, "Oh, you stream it for us, you cover us with there," and I was like, "Oh, fuck, great." How you going? A lot of people just did not want to come to this because they were just too afraid to see what it is, because it's got a. There is a bit of a rowdy reputation at a lot of protests like these, and it invites people to want to stay away from them, unless you're absolutely within the sphere and you can kneel to what they have to say.
Yeah.
And that's.
And Mark. Yeah, actually, I saw a couple of times.
Walk through this section.
It was amazing how many like things came out in Australia.
COVID stuff. That's not who I think it is. So I think we're coming up on a University of... Yep, that's Dr. David Brophy, right there. So he's essentially a paid actor with many.
Seems to be quite happy. I opened the front door to see if she wants to go.
Get out.
Hey guys. Old friends, shall we call them? Old friends. I said, very simply, hey guys. And the girl turns to the other and goes, is he being a smartass?
I'm just on my way. I ordered a book.
Can't even say hey guys. What else should I say? Dr. David Brophy, as I walked past him more than once, has said, oh, it's the Nazi. So we're now back in Hyde Park. Ah, for fuck's sake. How am I going to reach this guy? Oh, I think he's round out of power. That's why I'm chasing down a guy who knows me, because he's round out of power. We're actually in pretty safe territory now. We've only got individuals passing by. It's fairly safe. It's fairly here. This is the only other fellow that I've been able to see. Hey. How you going?
I just want to get a power bank for my phone. I'm going to go to the convenience store.
Sure. We'll be hanging around. You're the only other person I've seen here. Joel and everyone else. Haven't seen... Who? Alana.
Some shit that we know.
Any streamer?
What?
I haven't seen any other streamers here.
No, I haven't been. I mean, I probably wouldn't stream it. It's not really my style, but
yeah.
I had a pretty interesting conversation with a socialist who was convinced that, like, if the workers ran a factory, that would be ran more efficiently than if a business owner ran the factory. And I'm thinking, come on, sunshine, that's fucking bullshit. Like, everyone knows that's just rubbish.
We tried it.
What? We've tried it so many times as well.
That's the flip side, isn't hot either.
His argument was like, well, you know, I'm happy if I'm just helping out the community. I'm thinking, that type of thing could never run a society. It sounds great when you say it like that, but in terms of actual society, you can't run a society based on like fairy tale, you know, let's all share our stuff and work for the good of society. It's not really how the world works.
During one of my travels in Ukraine, what I said was...
keep walking.
Yeah, sure. I'll be back in about... I'll walk a little bit with you.
Okay.
And then I had to go head back to it.
Convenience store like pretty close up here.
It was when I was in Ukraine, an old Soviet joke. They pretend to pay us and we pretend to work. Because they were so unproductive, the rates of pay became so low that it was ineffectual. So they pretended to work. I spent a couple of weeks in Ukraine and around Chernobyl. And that was an interesting experience of what that kind of labor is. Ooh, interesting. Hold on, what's going on with the Women's Collective? Oh, okay. Right.
I'm disappointed with the sign, man. Like, people thought I was on their side, you know? It would trigger some people, but like, everyone thought I was agreeing.
They're used to a lot of agreement, and you're on a day where everyone's agreeing with them.
And I'm also like really calm about it too. They're expecting like someone to disagree. They're probably going to be like an RV type where they're going around trying to fucking, you know.
Correct.
I should have worded the sign differently.
Hey mate, I'll be anywhere around and just ready for the march to begin. So I'll see you around there.
When does the march begin?
I don't know, but I know it's a 4-hour event.
Oh, you're kidding.
That's what they listed it as. I'm assuming they're going to march to Hyde Park because I can't think of anywhere else.
Once they start marching, that's when I'll get up in people's faces and what other guys are going to come. The other guys are going to come, and I just want to ask them. Like, when I say get up, I'm not going to fucking arrest or anything. I just mean like, I'm going to ask them like, what are we protesting, guys? And do you know?
Read up.
See if
Australian Communist Party manifesto and material, and the party you thought didn't exist, and many people think doesn't exist. Good luck. See you out there. Stay safe. You don't want to get punched in the face.
You're going to hang out right here?
Anywhere between the fountain and the entrance to the domain. Okay. All right. See you later. Stay safe out there, gents. Just saying hello to as many officers as I can. There you go. They're decent guys. Okay. My photo is being shared around, apparently. That I am in attendance. Interesting. Well, hello to everyone who wishes to share my stunning visage. It seems that you'd like to make people aware that I'm here. Thank you. Oh, it's nice. It's nice. I don't mind if you do know that I'm here. My only goal here is to just try and record some of your protests. That's all. That's all. I just want to see what's happening. Ask you about what's happening, and other protests I'd like to even have a nice challenge and debate. I know you don't much like them, so I've learnt not to do them. Enough of your friends have assaulted me and been charged that I've learnt you really don't like having those conversations. So no problem. No problem. We don't have to have those conversations. We can protect you from the dangers of speech. Hate speech. Like, does it really matter? But why? I know, terrible questions. So, for those watching, I'm in the middle of Hyde Park at the moment, which is the nearest park to the event. I actually think they're going to march from the Domain down towards Central Station. And they're going to march through Hyde Park for it, and there'll be some interesting photo ops for that. Other photographers will get better photos than me. They can grab them. Police turn out, without doubt. So if you're wondering why we're not in the thick of the protest, there's a very good reason that we're hanging out with the Law and Order. And that's the simple reason that we're hanging out with the Law and Order Traffic Management Command. OSG isn't here. A couple of OSG units that were here moved on. Don't know why. They weren't here.
Hopefully stopping all that.
So this is people leaving the event, I would best describe it as. I'm not surprised. I think I've seen many of them show up for a selfie and then head off again. Sometimes it's just about showing a bit of attendance and then moving on. But it's about a mix, a 50-50 mix of out at the moment. Again, mostly what? Yeah, still in a city. Yeah, we can cross here. We can. No, we're not going to cross here because our police. No, we're not going to cross here. So I've got a lot of people coming away. It is exceptionally hot. It really is. So the expectation down that road there is where the main event is happening. Parliament House is just in there. So my expectation is they're going to come down this road and then head south past St Mary's Cathedral. And then either two options. They either end up in Hyde Park here, or they're going to end up heading south to Central Station, which is where you've got, I think it's Wentworth Park or whatever it is. So this event just here, you can see that it's already marked up there. There's no one. Well aware, they're old friends. Old friends. Old friends. Ah. Yes, Nottingham's doing. Did I see Paddy? I have not seen Patrick Gibson yet. I have no doubt that he's here. I have absolutely no doubt that he's going to be here. This is an amazing day for him to be here. He couldn't have missed this. Like, it's part of his job contract to have been here. How am I wearing a long sleeve shirt in this weather? Well, partially it's to keep the sun off, but the other reason is I think it's just fashionable. It's just fashionable. When in Rome, do as Romans do, and I am in Rome. When there's 10,000 people who occupy the streets and the police can't hold them back, that's Rome. That's their ground. Australian Communist Party. Frowny face. China flag. Yes. Yep. I don't know what else to say to that, but yep, it's the Australian Communist Party, and yes, it is. So what you'll see over here is actually sign-ups for Solidarity Australia. It's not just for Black Lives Matter or Aboriginal Rights Month, but these guys are socialist alternative activists, and they just, yeah, that's just what they do. And they're getting plenty of sign-ups there. But yeah, how I'm ending up is, when it comes to that long sleeve shirt, you bring up a great point, which is it takes planning to be able to survive something like this. To be able to cover an event for this many hours is difficult. It's hard. You've got to plan what equipment you're bringing, what extra phones, batteries, cables, 360 cameras, thanks to a kind donator who provided support. Also, a new backpack, something a bit more black, makes it a little bit harder to ID. I should have had a black hat, but that didn't quite work out. I don't mind that it's navy. It's about doing the best that you can to try and fit in Rome when you can. So Patrick Gibson is one of the managers at the University of Technology Sydney's Nungurra Aboriginal Studies Institute. He has a few people he works with and under him, and that's what he does. When you work in that industry, in the kind of diversity industrial complex, as some start to call it, you have responsibilities. Just as when you're running for Liberal pre-selection, you are expected to show up for every event for even your internal political rivals' election campaigns. In Bennelong, when John Alexander had to run again because of citizenship issues, everyone showed up in Ryde. Scott Morrison, Gladys Berejiklian, and on the other side as well, you had Tony Burke. Even Bill Shorten came through. This was everyone to support. That's just how it is. And so for Patrick Gibson to not show up, while it wouldn't be written in his job contract, it's so much part of his job to be here to, as it would be described, raising awareness of Aboriginal issues, to help organise, to put every resource, to put money into an event like this. He has to. It risks his job. And when you're managing an Aboriginal studies group as an academic like it, you're locked into that industry, a bit like within finance. You're in finance. It's hard to move out. It's much harder to move out of Aboriginal than it is to move to something else. Say, move from banking to consumer goods. Do my parents know that I'm out? I don't know. Do yours? I am all for insults. Bring them on, please, but make them witty. A lot of us left primary school a long time ago, and if you're still in primary school, get off the internet. So let's have some high school jokes, some insights. Sexuality jokes are lame. Insult the dress, fashion. Cutting insults about personality, they're really good. These are like real insights into someone and testing boundaries. And that's what I was going to go on to say when it comes to insults, why a large part of insults and what's increasingly being described as hate speech is to build up the whole sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's why that attitude of throwing shit at mates was to try and get them to be resilient in the face of a world that is mean. It's mean. Oh wow, not bad numbers though. If you're just tuning in now, you're wondering why I'm standing next to some socialist alternative sign-ups and some horse police over here. It's because the protest down there, it just got a little bit too hot. People were following us around. It was a big mob. You got almost 10,000 there, but it was just a bit too much for that particular moment. So just better to move on and wait for the march to begin, because that's part of why I'm here, to make sure that happens the way it actually happens, or I know it happens the way it actually happens, rather than what often gets rewritten by different media orgs, who says things happen in a way that they don't always. And I'm not much of a fan of that at all. Part of why I started doing this streaming was because I wanted to see what was actually happening, not what was being complained about. I wanted to see what was at these events actually being said, because so often a lot of the media was publishing something that I could see from my own streams, and they just didn't want to. Thank you, sir. All good. All good. Oh. They didn't want to. They weren't, for whatever a variety of reasons, weren't publishing the full details of what was happening. It was when this group from University of Sydney stepped into traffic and blockaded the road, the Prince's Highway, kicking in door panels as they went, to much the chagrin of some of the drivers there, the van drivers. And Shasha Chrysanthemous of the Sydney Morning Herald described it as police brutality in the park and mentioned nothing about it happening. That I went, I need to keep doing this. I need to cover this. And that's what I'm doing. Finish their speeches down there and begin. Can't give another stream of. If you want to see what's happening down there, we can, but it was just got a little bit too hot. It was being followed by too many different people. So as they come out down here, I'm just going to follow along with them, see what's happening. Can't be that long away now. What is it now? 11 o'clock. It's been 2 hours since the beginning of the event. They're still not there. I mean, it's just 2 hours they've been baking out there. It's just a huge... Next to this fountain, where a gentleman called... Oh, there we go. A gentleman called Lockie that I knew would be around. Now, not too many people have showed up today at all. If there are other streamers, please drop me a note in the comments with who else is streaming there. But not too many else have shown up here. In fact, I hope I'm not the only one. But in terms of events, not too many. This is the only other soul that I know that came to have an interesting conversation. How you going? Go talk to these guys. They'd love to talk to you. They'd love to talk to you.
Well, they're being pretty uncivil.
Oh,
they're like an over-caffeinated teenager on Twitter.
That's the one. Go have a chat with them. They're old friends.
Old friends, what is that name?
Is that who I think it is?
I want to get... What's his name?
That's not who I think it is it? Pardon me, Marine Faruqi?
Yes, it is.
Oh, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Well. I just wanted to say hello, just streaming most of the event. Recognise you quite well, so there we go. Just that around and say, hello, my name's Chris, I'm streaming on Discoveries.
Hi Chris, I'm Marine Faruqi, Green Senator for New South Wales. I stand in solidarity with First Nations people who are mourning the dispossession and the violent invasion of this continent.
Good, lovely. I'll leave you to it. I just wanted to say hello. I saw you going past, and see you later on. Bye, Marine. Bye-bye. So that was Marine and her media assistant just down there, who were coming past, and they went down and had a chat. So that was quite nice. Really friendly enough. Media trained. You'll notice that when we spoke with her, I got to speak with Marine. That was quite nice, wasn't it? There you go. There you go. She was polite, she was kind. That was Green Senator Marine Faruqi.
Is that right?
Yeah, you can go and speak with her if you want. If you wanted to challenge a politician, there's your chance. She's right there.
Oh, bro, I'll get the zoom out and ask her, what's your opinion on the 28 VIP per
If you want to do it now.
Let's do it. Let's fucking do it, man.
I'll follow it if you want. She's walking away. This was your chance.
Oh, so I want to ask a few questions about the protest.
She's leaving.
Let's go.
Black shirt. Oh, there's a march happening. Hold on, what's happening here? They're moving. I don't know. Something's happening. Yeah, sure.
Wait, what's her name?
Marine Faruqi. She's got the brown shoes. Oh. Lockie, down there, black hair, black shirt.
I'm going to go up behind her and go, hey, what's your name?
If you want to talk to her, there's your chance. If you want to speak with a Polly.
What's her name?
Marine Faruqi. Oh.
I'm going to go up and say, hey, Marine.
Federal Senator for the Greens. So something's happening here. There's a movement of people away from this. I'm not sure how close I want to be to this guy when he does this. I'll just keep some distance and then I'll show up in the middle of it. I think he's going to be awfully rude. God, go. Go. If he wants to go and speak with Maureen, now's his chance. He hasn't got a great sense of timing. And what I've learned in journalism is that you've got to have a good sense of timing. If you want to speak with someone, there's the chance. You go up and you be polite and you try and say it. He missed the chance. As soon as I told him there's a chance to go and speak with a Polly, the first thing he did was start fiddling with his stuff, put his bag down, pick something up. No. If you're a journo, if you want to be in this game, you drop your bag if you need to get the story. Instead, he's fiddling with his bag. He's talking about what he's going to say. He's looking at it. What's her name? Oh, he stops. He looks around, checks his phone. I was the same way not that long ago. Not that long ago, I was the same way. You know, you work to your own schedule. When it comes to this kind of thing, you have to work to the subject, the story's schedule. And that moment, I can go. And he lost it. Because accosting a senator in the middle of a train station, it's not a good look. You don't want to be that person who's doing that. Alright, let's check some comments. In case you're wondering why we're not in the middle of the protest right now, and that's because the protest is still in the domain. If you skip back about 20 minutes, that's when I didn't get exiled, but it was best for me to move on and just try and cover it from a little bit of a way away. Can you tell the difference between Odin and OSG? Yes, of course. Wait, someone's actually listening to the commentary that I'm giving about the different police units that are on site. Good on you. It really does matter how these police events happen. It's too easy just to point at it all and just say ACA. Ooh, we've got a big... Come this way for a bit. Look at this, guys. Got a huge gathering of public order and riot. I think because they know what's about to happen. And that could be the best guys to keep an eye on for if they're going to move on. Because when they move, that's when we know something's happening. All right, 2 hours in and they're still running this damn protest. What is going on, honestly? See if we can see some of the protest happening here. See if I can find a different strand. Keep an eye on public order and riot to see what they do. Are they leaving? Are they moving to a different location? I wonder if that was it. Maybe the rally's not going anywhere. I'm going to go and check it out. So we're going to head back closer to the rally again because there's a chance that this march might not be going anywhere. So there's our Socialist Alternative greeters as we come out of the train station here under Hyde Park. And they're there, 1, to get sign-ups, and 2, to get COVID-safe check-ins. Ah, lots of gear on this gentleman. Good on you. He's carrying the big gear. There's a lot of groups coming out, but there's also a lot coming in as well. And the groups that are coming in don't seem to be the same. You can see some Muslim families coming out as well. But there's a mix of it's streaming out. This rally. So they're streaming out now, guys. No march. Roads were closed, but no march. And we can see public order is teeming close by. Now, for those who didn't see the first time entering in, the rally is now leaving the event, and you can see that there's the check-in desk here for Socialist Alternative and the Communist. They're two different things. Keep in mind that the Communist Party and the Socialist Alternative are two different organisations and movements. Seen each other before. Good to see you. Yeah, good. There you go. Oh, yeah. Plenty of familiar faces. Good guys. Seen around the field. And they are streaming out now. Ah, what a relief. Okay. It's not going to be a high conflict situation. Look at this. A lovely day where I got to skirt around the outside of it. Nothing too much happened. No violence. They got to have a protest in a park. What could be better? What could be better? No much happening. I wonder if at the end of this we can start asking people questions, if they'd be okay to have a chat. I might just start doing that. Now that we're winding up, I might just ask some questions. Excuse me, sir. Do you mind if I ask you what you thought of the rally?
Yeah, it was really good. Really good, really interesting. Listened for a while.
What did you hear today?
Oh, cool. Lots of important things that most Australians don't talk about or listen about.
Main takeaway?
Lots of police intervention.
Yeah, lots of police. Lots of
Thanks,
police hanging around.
policeman.
What did they
Love
do?
you.
What did the police do?
They just watched us.
Oh,
for a
okay.
while
Okay.
and,
I thought they might have been like
stopped
a.
the march.
Oh, they stopped the march.
There's no march.
Oh wow, that's what I was waiting for up here.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. No march.
No.
Okay.
Good
And they
luck
made them.
with
Okay. There you go. See you, mate. Police stopped the march. There was an announcement there wasn't going to be a march. There you go. That wasn't not going to be happening. Excuse me, sir. Do you mind if I ask you about what you thought of the rally?
I thought it was an inspiration and send all the right messages to the greater community of Australia.
Yep. Cool. What's the main takeaway from the day?
That Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
That justice matters.
Yep.
That the past injustices have preceded what we have today and the wealth we have today.
Yep.
And hence we need to have some sense of equality.
Yep.
In generating the wealth to others who have suffered from the past.
Are we closer than where we were 10 years ago?
No, maybe, I don't know.
50?
Yes.
50? 100?
Yes.
All right, so the last 10 years we kind of plateaued. That's what I'm trying to work out is some people think we're making progress every year. Some people think we've made no progress for hundreds of years.
We keep on, unfortunately our main institution of change is government.
Yep.
And we keep on voting for right-wing governments.
Yep.
By definition are conservatives. and want the status quo to remain the same. That is the current systems of incarceration, the current systems of tax evasion and tax avoidance for the rich. And they need the current status quo to protect their wealth. So no.
Can I keep going, or do you need to run?
Keep on going.
How do we separate race and wealth? Because the two, I'm noticing that just become one. It's the one issue. Is there a difference? Are they two different issues, or is it just one?
You need to explain that.
You were speaking about inequality, racial inequality and wealth inequality. Is this the one issue, or are they two different issues?
They're the same and different. As in, one wealth inequality often links with racial inequality. The data is there. Indigenous are often the victims of that, like other racial groups. And so until we address those, then we're not going to have income equality.
Until we address income inequality, can we have racial equality? Because there we go, chicken and egg, right?
Yeah, it is chicken and egg. So you tackle one, you get the other.
Which one?
If you either way, you'll get equality for all.
I'm not trying to challenge you. It's you see where I'm going?
Yeah. So if you tackle racial inequality, then you will get income inequality. By definition, there will be less disadvantage for those races that experience inequality. And equally, if you tackle income inequality by progressive tax systems and the like, and stopping those from avoiding tax who should have, then that income will be used to help those that are on the margins.
So maybe, just maybe, if you tackle corporations evading tax, racial equality will flow. Because a lot of guys are trying to resist. It's like, no, we don't want racial inequality. But you're saying, hold on, let's tackle the income inequality. Let's make some corporations pay tax, and racial equality will flow.
Well, yeah, I'm guessing and not guessing. What I'm saying that'll be a definite byproduct of that.
Yeah. The racial question, it's just so divisive. It's so hot, and people I speak to here on one side, others on the others, and that happens. But the income one, I think there's broader support that if linked together, it can really.
They're one and the same, because income inequality, those who are in the lowest deciles are all those that are they are unfortunately the Indigenous. They are the people that have settled in the recent times. They aren't the guys who are from the people that are generating our politicians, for example, our right-wing politicians.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Thanks
for the chat, sir, and have a good day. That was a lovely exchange with a gentleman talking about how income inequality and racial equality are actually quite linked. And not linked in the way that we necessarily look at it, is because commonly the conversation goes to pay the rent. Here you go, pay the rent. Give some money. All right, well that's not an issue that always goes particularly well. All right, that's not one that goes particularly well. And on the other side, racial equality is one that doesn't necessarily work well either. They're saying, hey, let's make some people really pay some money here who aren't paying money right now. And he's not saying that, workers and what have you need to pay. He's saying that corporations. No prisons, no racism. There's one for us. No prisons, no racism.
I leave my blinds on.
Oh, yeah, wow, okay. Come this way. So we're going to come down here, and this is where the rally seems to be winding up here. Guys, no march. No march. No march. It's been wound up. No march at all.